Directing a film is no small feat. Breaking through the pack and being consistent while staying true to the artistic vision is even far more difficult. In today's video, we want to share our list of 10 up-and-coming directors that we like and that we think you should check out. When we say up-and-coming, we don't necessarily mean that they're very young or unknown. They are directors that have a limited filmography. Most have started directing features in the last 10 years. Some have had success in the festival circuit, but they are probably 1 or 2 films away from being established household names. Either way, they are very talented artists, possessing unique visions that are worth exploring. Before we continue, make sure to check your notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos. Now let's get started with the first director on our list.
Now, the fact that you'll turn into an animal if you fail to fall in love with someone during your stay here is not something that should upset you or get you down. Just think as an animal you'll have a second chance to find a companion.
What the hell am I watching? It's something I found myself saying often when watching one of Yorgos Lanthimos' films for the first time. He's quite unique in his approach to storytelling. His films are some of the most original ones out there. His characters often speak in an odd manner.
There's blood and biscuits everywhere.
I hope she dies right away.
Their thoughts are unfiltered and sometimes cringy. There are always extreme situations or conversations, and often shocking visuals. However, his films are far deeper than their odd exterior would make you think. Yorgos Lanthimos explores social mores like parenthood and the bright yet oppressive dogtooth, and relationships in the dystopian world of The Lobster. The Favorite is a period piece that isn't bound by its pristine set and costume designs. It breaks away from the usual trappings of the genre, bringing us a tale of manipulation and plays for power. Out of all the directors on our list, he's probably the most established one.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop!
Although Atlantics is Mati Diop's first feature film, it's not her first time behind the camera. She has had experience making shorts and documentaries, one of which was the source for Atlantics. The film introduces us to a group of young workers that leave the country to find better lives, and we get to follow what happens to those who stay behind. It's a perspective that the director believes hasn't been explored often enough, especially in a grounded way. Mati Diop films her characters in a manner that makes it seem like we're watching a documentary. We're along for the ride, following their lives. The director approaches the subject matter with love and respect, giving us something that is devoid of stereotypes or cliches, something honest and real. The way she mixed genres was a pleasant surprise. This beautifully shot film is a haunting love story that originates from a desire to give a voice to those who are disregarded as just another number in a page full of statistics.
I've tried saying.
Okay, so try again, release yourself.
Oh, release you mean?
Yeah, fine, release me, just say it. Just fucking say it!
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother!
Ari Aster's first feature, Hereditary, was a horror delight. The film's adept cinematography and imaginative transitions were complemented by the great acting amidst the mystery of the narrative. The themes of grief, mental illness, and the supernatural are explored in a raw and realistic manner without ruining the slow build with unnecessary jump scares. His follow-up, Midsommar, while a bit more self-indulgent than Hereditary, further demonstrates Ari Aster's mastery behind the camera. As with his first feature, the scene transitions are stylistic but interwoven into the narrative. Being a very visual director, he continues to scare and disturb the audience, but this time in broad daylight. His attention to detail makes you want to watch his movies again, in order to pick up the little breadcrumbs you might have missed the first time, even though part of you would rather not go through that harrowing experience more than once.
Come on, KG, this is no different than that. This is me, alright? I'm not a fucking athlete, this is my fucking way, this is how I win.
The Safdie brothers have a way of bringing out the best in their actors. Whether they're experienced like Robert Pattinson and Adam Sandler, non-actors, or even an athlete like Kevin Garnett, the world their characters inhabit is gritty, grungy, and dirty, which is reflected in the look of the cities, the characters' appearances, and the way they talk, often one over the other. The Safdie brothers immerse us in the worlds they've created, and take us along for a nerve-wracking ride that keeps us guessing how it's all going to end. Their 2 most recent features have protagonists that keep digging holes for themselves, and make things worse as they try to get out of their own mess. In Good Time, the main character's brother gets caught during a robbery that went wrong. We follow him as he tries to get his brother out.
You want to get your brother out, you bring out the 10 grand. That's how it works.
Hold on, Max, give me a break.
I'm giving you a break.
In Uncut Gems, we are introduced to a jeweler that is in way over his head, and we see what he does to try and pay his debts.
I'm literally minutes away from closing the biggest deal of my goddamn life, and when I do, you're gonna be embarrassed.
The escalating cavalcade of bad decisions made by both protagonists will leave you cringing and dreading the end. Within the first few minutes of Kylie Blues' runtime, I knew I was in for something different. The film's main plot is straightforward. A doctor has to go to a small village to look for his nephew, and to fulfill his mother's last wish, as well as to deliver a package to his co-worker's old friend. The manner in which the plot develops is not as straightforward. Along the way, the protagonist is influenced by his past, present, and future, revealing to us more of his backstory and motivations. The film's cinematography and long takes add to the dreamlike quality of the movie, although oneers sometimes feel gimmicky. In this case, they feel organic and, as the director said, perfectly imperfect. It's a mind-bending experience that makes me think of Andrei Tarkovsky or David Lynch.
电影和记忆最大的区别就是，电影肯定是假的，而记忆分不出真假。
Bigan's second feature, Long Day's Journey into Night, continues to build on the malleability of dreams and time. Once more, we have to pay attention to the small details, the themes, and motifs that are repeated throughout the film. The director is bold yet unassuming in his style. It gives his characters a sense of authenticity that is sometimes lost when making a heady film. Bigan's movies are definitely not for everyone. You must be patient and willing to have his films replay in your mind, like puzzles that want to be solved.
If it's in a word or it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook.
She may not be the youngest director on this list, but age has nothing to do with talent. Jennifer Kent's first directorial effort was The Babadook. It's a psychological horror tale about a grieving widow that is raising a difficult child. The nature of their relationship is further tested when the mother begins reading to her son from a mysterious children's book called Mr. Babadook. The film's slow build makes us focus on the characters and why they act the way they do. There is no reliance on jump scares. Instead, the frights find real estate in your mind and linger there after the film is over. Jennifer Kent's second film is The Nightingale. It's the story of a woman that is pursuing a group of soldiers to enact revenge for the horrible acts of violence that were committed against her family. This movie is definitely not for the faint of heart. It's very hard to watch. It's raw, violent, cruel, but very historically accurate. The disturbing acts of violence aren't gratuitous or made for shock value. They serve to place us in the reality of the characters living in such a time and place. In both films, Jennifer Kent's bold directing manages to bring out stellar performances from her actors and maintains tension until the end. We have mentioned some of Nahum Jin's films previously in our Korean horror and revenge videos. His movies aren't disposable or easy to watch. You have to be in a certain mindset, ready for an unrelenting ride. The Chaser is a crime thriller that tells the story of an ex-cop pimp who is trying to catch the man who is behind a series of call girl murders. The Yellow Sea is a convoluted crime noir type film where a man is on the run after a murder gone wrong. The Wailing is a slow burn horror film about a small village that has been overcome by a mysterious illness ever since the arrival of a stranger. Nahum Jin's films are raw and gritty. He doesn't pull any punches, nor does he try to solve the story by tying everything with a nice little bow. He really makes his characters go through the ringer. No one gets out unscathed. As is characteristic of many Korean films, the moments of levity quickly give way to something intense or terrifying, without feeling out of place. His films leave an uneasy feeling in your gut, and stay with you long after you've watched them.
What? That's what I mean!
When you see his two features, you realize that Robert Eggers strips down the story and the look as much as possible. The Witch is the tale of the disintegration of a family due to the influence of a witch in the nearby woods. The Lighthouse is about two lighthouse keepers, spiraling into insanity while being stranded on an island due to a storm. There is no extravagance, no room for bloated storytelling. Robert Eggers immerses the story in the reality of the time period it's set in, from the way Thomason's family speaks.
The bargain now is made is of no effect.
I made no bargain.
Thy soul belongeth to Christ.
I made no bargain.
The devil hath no interest in thee.
I am no witch, Father.
To the cutlery the lighthouse keepers use, Eggers strives for historical purity. He researches every little detail to stay away from anachronisms or from being revisionist. He brings no judgment to the characters or their choices, staying true to the era they live in. Robert Eggers is very passionate about the past, folktales, and mythology. He has stated that he likes to explore where we're coming from, and therefore, where we're going from that initial step. He creates an otherworldly atmosphere where archetypes and folklore are brought to life. When I first heard about Jairo Bustamante, I was cautiously optimistic. It's not often you see Guatemalan filmmakers, and so, being of Guatemalan origin, I was very curious about the films he made while really hoping that they were good. Thankfully, I was not disappointed. The director has stated that the purpose of his movies isn't just to present them at festivals, but to open people's eyes to troubling realities that exist, specifically in Guatemala. He wishes to start important conversations that can enact change. Although his films do have a societal message, Bustamante does not forsake character development nor plot to convey said message. It's done in a realistic and natural way. From the first scene, we are immersed in the characters' lives, their struggles, and their plight for freedom from a way of life or from the accepted norms of society. In Ixcanul, Maria works in a coffee plantation with her parents. She's about to be married off to one of the bosses when she becomes pregnant with her secret lover's baby. In Tremors, we see what happens when a married man is outed, and how everything around him changes, due to people's narrow-minded beliefs. Both films are based on real-life experiences, which adds a level of legitimacy, and at the same time, can shock us when we think that stories like these do still occur. They can be hard to watch at times.
You give me a number for how much it costs to raise me, and I'm gonna get older and make a lot of money and write you a check for what I owe you so that I never have to speak to you again.
Well, I highly doubt that you will be able to get a job good enough to do that.
And now for the last, but definitely not the least. Greta Gerwig was known for her acting before she wrote or directed a feature. Her first two solo directorial endeavors are a bit different one from the other, but they are both a breath of fresh air. Her films aren't as dark or ambiguous as most of those we've mentioned on this list, but they are crafted with as much care and attention to detail. Lady Bird, one of our favorites of 2017, is an original coming-of-age story, partially based on her own life.
You can't do anything unless you're the center of attention, can you?
Yeah, well, you know your mom's tits, they're fake, totally fake.
She made one bad decision at 19!
2 bad decisions!
And Little Women is an adaptation of the famous novel. Even though both films have their serious moments, Gerwig manages to imbue her characters with humor and lightheartedness. She makes them feel relatable, like people you would actually meet. She humanizes them and makes us sympathize with their choices, even though we might not always agree. The way they speak, especially Saoirse Ronan's Lady Bird and Joe, is a mix of deadpan quirky that is reminiscent of the way Wes Anderson makes his characters talk. I'm really looking forward to seeing what other characters Greta Gerwig is going to introduce to us in the future. I really hope you can take the time to dive into any one of these directors' movies and explore their filmography. I'm sure you will find something new and interesting to experience. Obviously, they are not the only directors out there that are making great films. Please leave a comment down below if you know of another up-and-coming director that should be mentioned. If you like this video, we invite you to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to get notifications about our upcoming videos. Today's musical composition was made by Eduardo Gonzalez. If you like his work, you can check his information in the description down below. Until next time.